let's get this going, shall we? My webcam is not set up properly, so bear with me a sec. Close that and then make that bigger. Put me in the middle somewhere. There we go. Very professional, but I got there in the end. Evening, everyone. Evening, Zodak. How's it going? Has everyone had a good week? I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's looking forward to this race, even though I know it's not a great one for everyone. Remember game volume? Yeah, already on this week, mate. I've literally already got it on, so we should be sound on that one. Just got a couple of people left to get in. Curly says his game's crashed, so I'll have to wait for him to come back. Should we have a look through the standings? What time are we in? I'll have a look through the standings. Yeah, let's do that now. So, as we stand, Verstappen does maintain the lead of the championship, sat on 182 points. It's not safe by any means, but he's about as safe as anyone has been this season at the top. So then we've got Scarito, who's actually climbed up to P2 now. I think it's the highest he's been all season as far as I can remember, but has been very consistent. Marshall's now dropped down to third, obviously missed last week and misses this week, unfortunately, after being on a really good run. Zodak in fourth, still in the fight, the leader for a long time before finally getting knocked down a few places, but is still very much there. Dan's in P5 and 132. Curly moves up into 6th and 121. Just Run also moves up into 7th and 117. So Just Run climbing the table at a rapid rate, putting in some really consistent performances. Hyder's now in P8 after I think also I know we did race last week but crashed out, so of course failed to score. His McLaren teammate Epburn in 9th on 73 points. Fake G's in 10th on 69. Matty in 11th on 60. HKM in 12th on 41. Viper in 13th on 32, although he has now dropped to reserve due to other personal issues. Kane in 14th on 12. Spinato in 15th on 6. Zeb, the one race wonder, on 1 point, who again has now left in 16th. Camu in 17th on 1. Brooksy and Fox again yet to score. Fox has now dropped to reserve, so won't be scoring. Just make sure I ain't got any messages. In fact, I'll just switch to teams. Leave that up a sec. Well, I'll send a couple more invites and then I'll run through the team standings. So Red Bull, very dominant at this point. I think the way they're going, they can have this wrapped up by like round 20, maybe even before that. Currently set on 344. Close to red and blue. Yeah, it's very close actually. Red Bull on 344.5, McLaren in second on 188, so a big old gap at the moment. Alfa Romeo right on the heels, 2 points in it for P2. Haas very much there in fourth on 178. Alpine in fifth on 167, again not out of it. 21 points covering 4 teams in a battle for P2. Ferrari a little bit further back in P6 on 149.5. Williams in 7th on 122. Mercedes in 8th on 77. AlphaTauri in 9th on 46. And Aston Martin in 10th on 12th. I'd love a capable Ferrari teammate. Well, he was going to race tonight, mate, but unfortunately, because he's failed to react so many times, and he did again this week, he's actually ended up with a race ban. So he can't race this week, he's not allowed. So sorry about that, but just one of those things. I think we may now have everybody in as far as I'm aware. Should have 13, we do have 13. Happy days. So if anyone's listening, you can ready up. I'm just going to put a message out saying ready up. And we will get this show going. Right, let's switch back to that screen. There we go. Go to that. Can you hear the game clicking? Is the game sound? Is it there? I don't know how loud it'll be. It might be turned down a little bit, but it is definitely on. I know it's on because I can see it's on. I made sure to check. I actually did my entire stream Monday when I race, and then after I'd finished the race, so like maybe an hour and a half later of the stream, I then realised I'd never turned my microphone on. Thankfully, nobody was really talking in the chat anyway, but I didn't realise until afterwards that I was indeed just talking to nobody. So yeah, short qualifying tonight. Kind of expecting some rain, to be honest. There always seems to be rain around here in some way, shape or form. If somebody could let me know what the weather prediction would be, that would be useful. Give me a bit of an idea of what to expect. Evening at Ben. Jeez, man, I didn't realise you had your window in your room. Never seen light in there. Well, it's usually dark and it's usually very dull. There is very much a window there. And when the summer, I need to get some blinds because now we're getting towards the summer. The sun is right in my eyes when it's up. It has just gone down now, but we had new windows put in, so I had to take the blinds down. But then we figured we didn't like the blinds, so I left them down, and I've just never got around to putting any more up. But it hasn't mattered because it was so dark. But now it's starting to get light in here again, which is, I mean, to be fair, is better because it's definitely better for my webcam. It looks to actually give a better picture in natural light, which is nice, so you can actually see my deformed face in HD. Right, qualifying is officially underway. Let's get some lap data on. Let's see who's going to be the first to jump. Some rain in the race. Ooh, late rain. Ooh, that'll definitely come into play then because there will more than likely be safety cars. I'm fully expecting people to bin it around here. It's a real treat tonight for those doing GP2 as well. Big Monaco and Little Monaco in one night. Anybody want to go out? Nobody feeling it? Nobody in a rush? No? Oh, it's a Ferrari. It's got to be Zodak. He's listening. It is indeed Zodak. I like street circuits. I won't lie. I very much enjoy driving street circuits. Oh, Dan's left. Is that a connection issue? Wait, race. I don't know what the race is tomorrow for F2 actually. I ought to check that. Dan forgot his setup. So he's got to go and get his setup. I'll send him an invite before laps get going. Oh, I've got hiccups. Dear me. Oh, I can't invite him because he's appearing offline. I wonder if it's an Xbox thing. Mind you, no, because Kane was appearing online. Let's have a look at the F2 corner. We did him all last. Oh, it's Monaco tomorrow as well. Oh dear. Oh dear, it's street circuit galore this week. I did Monaco Monday. It's Singapore now. I'm doing Monaco after this, and then I'm doing Monaco tomorrow. I've raced it 3 times in 1 week. I'll be well practiced at it anyway. Oh, what I mentioned. Who's mentioned me? Just done. Right, so Zodak, the first one to start us on a lap. Hopefully he's not the first one to throw it in a wall. I know how much he likes his snapped Ferrari parts. Looking solid so far though. It's always hard to tell around here, like when people are feeling comfortable or not, because I think to an extent, although you're running a lot of downforce around this track, you do need some movement. You need it to move around a little bit because it's so tight in places, otherwise you're just really slow. Speedy number 25 is now following. What's Speedy doing in my stream? What's he want? Evening, Speedy. I assume you're back from America then. Come to... Oh, no, we don't come to the end of sector 2. We come to the end of sector 2 on this straight. It's going to show me a split time, but I haven't got a clue what it's going to mean until everyone else comes through. 105.7. In fact, we could probably switch to Hepburn. Oh no, not Hepburn. Hyder, sorry. See what Hyder's done. 105.7. Is that exactly the same as what? Am I going stupid? I can't remember. You are back. Oh, good. Enjoyed it? So that coming through the last sector. Just, well, I say one more corner. It's almost a double left, last corner. Tricky one. If you get it wrong, 139.6 to open us up. So that does get in a solid lap. Hyder comes round looking like it's going to be fairly quick. 139.5, so nice and close kicking us off. Looking forward to Singapore and Monaco. Are you actually, or are you being sarcastic? Hepburn, still a valid lap. Nobody's invalidated so far, which surprised me a little bit. Hepburn comes round, this is going to be close as well. 139.1, so actually knocks 4/10 off. So McLaren looking good again. Both of them had very good pace last week, but managed to smash it into a wall. Unfortunately, yes, because no hobo. Everything's better when hobo's not here. Viper crosses, goes fourth on a 142.4. I think Scarito's on a lap as we speak. He is indeed. Scarito currently in sector 2. Keep an eye on the sector times. We're just quality merchants. You are, really. I mean, in the nicest possible way. You just can't keep it out at walls. You have too much fun smashing cars up. Scarito coming to the end of sector 2 on 105.1. So Scarito looking quick. Well, having said that, I sound surprised, but Scarito has had some very good races and some quick qualifying as well. Love a good fuck. He does not fuck smash my car. That's where he needs to be. He needs to be in McLaren. Scarito coming through sector 3. Just the double left to negotiate, and we'll see where this first effort's going to put him. I think it's going to be pretty quick, this, you know. It is indeed 138.7. Well, pretty much a 138.8, but still a very respectable time. Nearly 4/10 again over Hepburn. So Scarito very much at home around Singapore so far. We've got Dan on a lap at the moment. I think Viper might actually be pushing behind, is he? No, I don't think he is actually. No, Viper's not pushing. He must let Dan go on that one. I think just runs on an outlap. So Dan, the only one to watch at the moment. 139.6. It's raining in T1. Oh, Tier 1. I'm thinking you meant Term 1. Is it going to rain all time, Speedy? I was confident, but after that sweaty time, not much confidence left. Yeah, look, you just got to bear with it. So Just Run, I think, is the one to keep an eye on for now. Obviously been very much the pace setter recently. Not been out of reach by any stretch. People have been close, but I think the difference is Just Run's just been there all the time. He's always been up at the top. Been very consistent. So coming to the end of sector 1, Just Run's on a 27.387. As Dan gets out of the way nicely. Kane's crashed it in the tunnel. I think Scarito's the only one that's going to be affected by that, and he's not on a lap anyway. We'll have a quick look on board to see. I think he's just gone in deep, to be honest. Yeah, he has. Kane's just gone in deep and ripped his front right wheel off, unfortunately. Flick back to Just Run. Always goes on board through this section. I don't know why. I feel like this, of all sections, this would be the one that would be cool to have an outside view because of how tight it is. But, you know, anyway, what do I know? Just Run 105.3. Was that similar to what Scarito was doing? It might even be a little bit slower than what Scarito were doing. Very similar, if my memory serves right. Just sector 3 left to go. Gets a wheelie over that curb. Very Red Bull. Through the tunnel, no issues. Takes a lot of curb. Looks as though it rides it okay though. Does like to bounce cars around quite a bit, this track. So Just Run through the final turn. So 138, 139.0. So slots into P2. It's a very respectable time. Scarito looking as though got a little bit of time in hand at the moment. A couple of tenths to everyone else. Obviously, I'm expecting these times to come down, but It's always nice to get a really solid banker lap in. At least then you know you can afford to just push flat out, and if you crash, well, it is what it is. You've already got a decent lap in. So Dan just starting a lap, I believe. Yeah, Dan's just starting a lap. We've got Matty, Viper, HK and Verstappen on out laps. And Kayla. Don't know why I didn't say Kayla. I don't think anybody's actually on a lap apart from Dan. So I'll flick back to Dan. See how he's getting on through Sector 1. I'm expecting at some point to say those exact words, and as I switch to a car I'm going to see a front wheel get ripped off. So Dan finds nearly 2/10 in Sector 1. I've just noticed that Dan and Zodak have got the exact same time. Both on 39.625. Dan obviously improving at the moment. It is very close between 4th, 5th and 6th. Just over a 10th. Spreads out a little bit beyond that, but again I'm expecting it to close up. Kaylee's number 1 final no-show this weekend. No mate, this is what I was saying, like when we did F2 at Jeddah and I was streaming my actual point of view for the race, he was in that chat like a lot. He was like talking all race, but there was also like Kaylee and Marshall, everyone were in my chat, so everybody was talking as usual, but there was no two ways about it. I was taking the piss out of religion, as I do, and I think I might have genuinely offended him. And he hasn't been back since. I mean, I was only joking with him, but yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said. He said something like, "Oh, I think it's best if I don't join these chats anymore" or something, and that were it. Like, he never came back. So Dan abandons his lap, dives into the pits. Matt is going to be the next one to come through. Then his Haas teammate. Got, I think Verstappen's on a lap. Is Hyder on a lap? I think they might all be on laps, you know. Oh no, they're not. Stand corrected. Matty crosses a 140.3. Verstappen goes P2, 138.8. So good pace shown by Verstappen there. Hyder, I'm guessing, he's just starting a lap. Hepburn's just starting a lap too. Kaylee will be on a lap. Oh no, he won't. He's invalidated. Can't handle the minor sarcasm. What sarcasm? I don't know what you're talking about, mate. Viper around the last two. Can he improve? He can indeed. 141.0, so knocks 1.4 seconds off. Nice little improvement with his Finding Nemo helmet. We've got HKM on a lap at the moment. Through the tunnel. I'm not a big fan of the Red Bull family by any means, but I do like the sound of the Honda engines on this game. HKM's going to come round. It's a 42.0, so not the best effort. Struggling a little bit. Needs to try and find a little bit of pace. Hyder currently showing purple, 4/10 up at the end of Sector 2. This could put him right up in that mix towards the top, where we'd expect him to be. Through the left, through the right. Looking very neat. Not taking much curb at all through there. In fact, I'm trying to avoid them altogether, which, to be fair, is... Oh, valid strategy. Gets a wiggle and just about keeps it out of the wall. I'm like, oh, doesn't keep that one, though. It's a spin on the last corner, so that lap is gone. Luckily, nobody coming around to finish a lap behind. I think just his teammate, who has indeed invalidated anyway. So Hepburn will bail in as well. So Hyder was on a very good lap, but unfortunately dropped it right at the last moment. That's what I was saying about the final corner. It's a bizarre corner. You can feel incredibly planted one lap, and then you come around next time, and it just the rear tyres just refuse to do it. They just let go. Who have we got out there? Camu's on an out lap, so he'll just be putting his setup on. He should bail into the pits on this occasion, and doesn't for some reason. I don't think the instructions were that difficult. Do an out lap and box. That's what was said. Not do a lap and then box. But anyway, as long as you don't set a time, don't suppose it matters. Where's Zodek? There's Zodek. Zodek starting a lap. Hyder obviously invalidated. I guess we'll be boxing because we'll be out of fuel. Go indeed, yep. So Hyder. Oh dear. Tickling my throat. Hyder will have to box this lap. Hepburn on the way out. HKM crawling. Needs to be careful of Zodek coming past and does stay out of the way, thankfully. I can feel hiccups coming on. I'm doing my best to suppress them, but I can feel it. Yellow flags, I think, are just for Hyder running out of fuel. So that should be fine. Stay with Zodek. I'm curious to see. In fact, I'll flick back for the end of Sector 2. Let's see what else is going on. Viper's on another outlap. Curly's on an outlap. Camu's obviously out, but needs to pit this time. Oh, and go straight onto the wall. Hopefully gets out of the way before Zodek arrives. Does indeed. So Zodek, I did miss the end of Sector 2 like an absolute numpty. Coming through Sector 3, I mean it says it's 8/10 up. If that's accurate, it's looking like a quick time, this one. Just the final corner, hopefully those rear tyres will stick, and they do indeed. Zodek 138.6 takes another 10th out of it, so it's getting quicker and quicker, but also getting closer and closer. Top 4 all covered by less than 4/10 at the moment. The top 5 covered by less than 5/10. Half a second covers the top 5. This is how we like it. Hepburn starting another attempt. If anybody wants another go, they need to get out now. Hyder's literally just got out, but it's going to have to be a fairly swift outlap, this one. Can't afford to wait around too much. Anybody that's still in the pits now is obviously not going to get the chance at a lap. Curly currently on one. Just started it, actually. So Curly really needs to nail this. Hasn't got a timing as of yet. Viper. Just starting a lap. Bloody telemetry things are so stupid on this game. Dan is Dan's charging, so Dan's on an outlap. Screet on a lap or Screet on an outlap? So he went deep into that in an outlap. Just run, also on an outlap. HKM's retired in the pits. Zodek will be boxing. There won't be any improvement because there's no fuel left. Hepburn on an outlap. Oh no! Oh, was he invalidated? I think he might have invalidated actually. We'll get to go again because he does have the fuel to do so. Hyder's also on an outlap and needs to be careful not to get too close. Let's have a look at Curly, shall we? Curly's negotiated first 2 sectors. Looks as though there haven't been any major dramas. All the cars are still attached. I've not seen the yellow flag, so that's a good sign. Gets through the bridge section without any major issues. How much Kirby rides? Yeah, stays off them altogether. Seems to be a mix of people clattering the curbs or staying off them. Curly comes round, crosses the line. It's a 140.5. Does manage to move up. Won't start at the back. So Curly sits into 9th on a 140.5. Viper coming round. Needs to find half a second really to improve to try and beat Curly. Can he do it? 140.7 finds a fair amount of time, but not enough. Dan Roush coming around. See if there's any improvement to be had here. I mean, there's definitely positions to be gained if you can. Looking go through that final turn. Dan Roush puts in a 38.9, so jumps right up to 4th. Really nice effort from Dan there. Scarito improves 138.1. Absolutely smashes what's been done. Just Run puts in a 38.5, so moves up into P2. But Scarito's just found an immense amount of time on that lap. I think that's 6/10 in one go. Matty's gone 7th with a 139.2. I think we're just waiting now on the 2 McLarens. Both of them are up. Although they've got a lot of time to find. They need an absolutely mega last sector, both of them. Although, to be fair, I think what McLaren really need is just a really solid race between them. So you need to make sure they finish today. So Hepburn around the final turn. The rears do stick. Hepburn 38.4 moves up onto the front row, takes P2. Hyder, I think, did he improve? No, Hyder's 7th. So Hepburn did manage to find some time and move up into 2nd, so gets one McLaren at the front. But Hyder's definitely struggling for pace here a little bit. A 2nd off Scarito. It's not very often we see Hyder down in 7th in qualifying. So Scarito puts in an absolute stormer of a qualifying. A 138.1 is a mega lap around here. Hepburn gets it together at the end, puts in a 38.4, struggling with sector 2 big time. Yeah. So yeah, you might be able to work on it during the race if you keep consistent. Just run slots into P3 alongside Zodek. Verstappen and Dan Roush will fill row 3, very close together on time. What we got, like just over 100th between them. Hyder in 7th, Matty in 8th, Curly 9th, Viper 10th, HKM 11th, Kane crashing out, and Camus serving his qualifying ban. Starts at the back. I do like full qualifying sessions, but there is a beauty to short ones. Like if you've got a lot of cars, fair enough, yeah, full qualifying definitely. But when you've got a small grid, it definitely gets it over with quicker. Purple sector 1 and sector 3, but losing mega at a time in the middle. Yeah, it could. I mean, how much downforce are you running? Are you running like max downforce? I'm just wondering if you're gaining quite a bit down the straights, and that's why you're purple in 1 and 3. 50 front, 47 rear. You're not exactly low then, unless Scarito were running 50-50. Possible. Either that, or I don't know. Maybe he just likes sector 2. 10 seconds to formation start. And then we get the slow lap out of the way, and hopefully we don't have any more slow laps behind safety cars. But I'm optimistic but realistic. I feel like there's going to definitely be some DNFs this race. Have a look at tyre choices. Looks as though Scarito's on hards. Tyres. Most of the field on hards. That's interesting. You don't see that very often. So I'll read it backwards then. So Zodak, Dan, Roush, Matty, and Camus starting on mediums. So those guys are going to be looking to make places up early on and make some progress. Everybody else going for the hards. Not an easy one to start on the hards. I mean, it can definitely pay off if you don't get interrupted by safety cars and you can remain consistent. It's just very tricky because they're pretty low grip tyres. There's a lot of fuel, and with it being a street circuit, you make one mistake and that's it. You can quite quickly be done. That Alpine does look good. I think somehow like the Alpine looks good to me because the nose actually sits low on it. Like the front wing is quite low. Like if you look at Hepburn's McLaren and how high the front wing sits, somehow it just doesn't look. I don't know. It just looks unfinished somehow. I feel like the front wing needs to be close to the ground. Same for the Red Bull. I think Ferrari's sim as well. I think the only other one is the Mercedes, if I remember right. Oh no, Alfa Romeo's quite low to the ground. Looking at that nose. I can't see it now. God damn it. Yeah, so that's quite low to the ground. The Haas is a bit lifted. Oh no, the Mercedes is fairly high up as well, actually. AlphaTauri is quite low. Yeah. I don't know. I've got a bad memory apparently. But anyway, come to the end formation lap. Zodek comes to take the #1 spot on the grid. Hopefully nails the parking. Looks good to me. Hepburn very much looking to his right, as is Zodek behind. Both of them line astern. Who is that? Is that Hyder? Hyder well off to the side of the grid. grid box, but does get away with it. It is allowed. Obviously looking to stay right at the start. Oh, come on. There we go, that's the camera. That's the one. 5 lights on. Lights go out, but we won't get underway just yet. We will get away round about now, I reckon. There we go. So, Skylar Hepburn gets a better launch from what I could see. The camera's not helping. Hepburn does get a better launch. Hepburn side by side into one. Zodak very nearly hits the back of the front two. Obviously underestimating just how much they're going to break. I think saw a car around it. No, I didn't. Stand corrected. Zodak already looking up the inside of Scarito into turn 3. Both of them do get through. But Hepburn's definitely had a bit of a gift here at the start. We've got slow cars at the back. Verstappen's involved. One of the better qualifiers. Now finds himself down in 10th with work to do. Both the Williams going wheel to wheel. Camu's got a really good start. Straight up to 8th. So Camu made, what, 5 positions already? Got a yellow flag. Car round. Oh, it's absolute chaos. What has happened here? I think Dan's come together with Hyder potentially, or he's dropped it and Hyder's nudged him or something. But that's caused damage to several cars. Not ideal. Dan's now out. I would imagine that's going to be a safety car. I'd be surprised if it isn't. Matty's got no wing. Verstappen's got through with no damage amazingly. Curly's got a broken front wing. Has anyone else got damage? HKM looks okay, Camo looks okay, I think. No, Hyder looks okay as well. I thought Hyder had been involved in that. Viper's found himself up in 5th, purely through not getting involved in incidents. Scarito's now down to 4th, so from starting first has lost 3 positions within the first lap. Not the start he would have wanted. Oh, Zodak's round! Zodak's dropped it in the second to last corner. He's going to have to wait. This is going to kill him to wait, but he's got no option. There's so many cars to come through. He'll probably get away with a movement now, and does. Does manage to get turned around, but will have to pit for a wing. So Zodak drops right down to 12th. Pressure has been lifted from Hepburn for now. Got a decent lead, 2.1 seconds already. Almost 2.2. Just Run's going to start to close that down. No, he's got pace. Camo's just got past Kane, I think. No, and Kane's come straight back. These two battling over 6th place. Got Hyder and Viper together. Hyder's going to try and go around the outside, but that's never going to work there. So he's going to close. I think he's just going to have to sit there for a moment. Unfortunately, there's quite a few corners around here where you just have to bide your time a little bit. Or if you're going to make a move, it's going to have to be something special, and you're going to need some cooperation from your fellow racer. I think it's raining. It is raining. So they said rain towards the end of the race. That was not the case at all. We're going to see rain very early on. I don't think, yeah, nobody who pitted took a gamble on going to Inters. Didn't know if I might see that, but no. So everybody's still on the dries. I think we're going to be going to Inters sooner rather than later though. Hepburn's now extended his lead to 2.3 seconds. Again, another 10th. This lap so far. Scarito just about falling off the back of Just Run, just outside DRS. Viper still keeps Hyder behind. Obviously no DRS assistance just yet, which will not be pleasing Hyder, I would imagine. Kane's managed to pull away from Camu a little bit, and then it all spreads out a little bit further back. In fact, it spreads out massively back to Matty. Matty a full 32 seconds off Curly in 10th, and so like obviously a few seconds back. Both of those two requiring some sort of safety car help before the end, I would imagine. Hyder's absolutely glued to the back of that McLaren. Mercedes, sorry. He's in the McLaren. Oh, he's going to go up for a lunge into 3. Oh, wheel to wheel, and they've gone round. Hyder's gone round. Was an ambitious move. I couldn't see quite what the situation was for the coming together there. But either way, Hyder's not benefited from that one. Camu still glued to the back of Kane. Obviously can't get through at this point. Has to say that. He goes round and smashes his front wing in. Just needs to let Hyder go and does so. Camu now can try and get it going again. We got a VSC. There we go. Camu does get it going again. Obviously wingless will have to pit. So that's going to drop him right back. We've now got a four-way battle for 9th, which is a full 45 seconds off everybody else in this race, which is a little bit crazy to think. No safety cars have yet though. It's definitely raining as well. Is anybody going to take a risk and pit under this VSC? Try and get a cheap pit stop for Inters. Could be a viable strategy. I've not seen a DRS disabled come up yet. So it's not that wet. But it does look as though it's getting heavier. Yeah, Ben's going to bail in. Just Run comes in as well. Scrito in as well. So it looks as though we might see everybody coming. Everybody else going Vipers in. HKM stayed out. That's going to be a brave move. Oh, what's happened to Hepburn? He's put mediums on. Oh, Hepburn. So from being comfortable in the lead. This is not good. He really needs to hope that it doesn't get wet. But it's already wet, so that's not going to happen. Hepburn is going to lose the lead through this. Zodek's still on hards. Kaylee's already pitted for Inters, so I'll start to gain a little bit of time back from that now. Verstappen also on Inters. I think everybody's on Inters now, apart from Hepburn. Ah, Hepburn's gone round. No grip. Slicks just aren't it. This is going to put him right at the back. The way it's going. Going to be so slow on this in lap. Just got to be patient. It could still come back to him later on in the race. Safety cars can always get involved. But this is going to be a painful lap. HKM is in the lead. Obviously still on the odds, but I would think by the end of this lap, whether he pits or not, he's going to lose the lead. Just Run's going to be so much faster on the Inters. And indeed is. Getting tenths every few meters. Just needs to be careful, don't be too hasty. Does get through. HKM's just got no grip to get it turned. Scrito's going to be coming up fast as well. Kane's right on the back of Viper. Scrito needs to stay right. I would imagine HKM's going to bail into the pits. It's a lap too late though. There's been a lot of time lost. Viper still running P5. Kane in P6. Hyder work to do, but does have clear track ahead. Can try and get his foot down a bit in P7. Verstappen on the recovery and push at the minute. I mean, the front two are miles clear at the minute. Obviously, Hepburn's now at pit again, so that's going to drop him a long way back. That's, I would imagine. Where's this going to be? This may even be back towards Curly and Camu in 9th and 10th, depending how quick he can get to the end of the pit lane. It's going to be close. I think Curly might just get this. Obviously gets the sweeping line and carries a lot more pace. I'm so stupid. You're not stupid, you're just special. So Hepburn does come out in P9. Obviously the race isn't over yet. It could dry up again or anything yet. There's a long way to go. I did not expect it to run this early, to be honest. Viper's now up into P3, so Kane and Viper battling over the final podium position. Oh, we're early days, but they're both sitting really nicely here. Hyder, I think, is slowly closing in. So, obviously, we'll want to try and get back up towards the front. I think the battle now, well, barring any external interference, is going to be between Just Run and Scarito, but Scarito's not at the pace in the race so far. Was very quick in qualifying. Verstappen just got past HKM. But, yeah, Scarito's just not been able to get it together in the race so far. The first 5 laps seem to have really struggled, both in the dry and the wet. Verstappen moves up to P6. Hepburn right on the back of Curly. Going to want to get on with this. Try and get some quick laps in. Oh, I get some much better run through that hairpin. pretty much cruises past Curly on the exit, so Hepburn moves up to P8. Got just under 6 seconds to try and bridge to close up to the back HKM. I wouldn't expect it to take that long given the pace that he's shown. But keep an eye on that. The only real battle at the moment... Ooh, HKM getting a bit of a wiggle on. That's not going to help his case in that battle. Indeed doesn't. Loses a good few tenths instantly to Hepburn. Looks to be really struggling, quite actually. Went really deep on a couple of corners. Gap's now below 5 seconds. I think the only other close battle at the moment is probably Kane and Viper. Hyder is closing in. I think gained about a second so far. Obviously no DRS now, this is the trouble. I mean, Kane can sit as close as he wants to Viper, but I think unless a mistake comes, it's going to be very difficult to pass. These two look to be pretty closely matched on pace. In fact, we've got Zodak on the back of Matty. The battle for the wooden spoon. Zodak will be disappointed so far. Showed good pace in qualifying. We got a really good start too, actually. Oh, that's a nice move. Got a good exit out of there. Gets alongside. The drag race begins. Zodak will have the shorter line, but I think Matty's coming. Zodak, did he back out of that? Definitely slowed down a lot. I was expecting him to be there, but he just wasn't. Remains behind for now. Hyder's definitely closing up on this third place battle between Viper and Kane. Hepburn's now got the gap down to 2.5 seconds to HKM, so that's within the next couple of laps. I expect him to be looking to make a move. That'll move him up into 7th. Well, Verstappen's very much in no man's land down in P6. Running a similar pace to Hyder, so not really gaining too much in front. And not, well, and he's pulling away behind actually. HKM's definitely dropping off the bike. Gap at the front now up to 3.8 seconds, so about another second gain in the last couple of laps by just run. Definitely looking the more comfortable of the two so far. Kane just not able to get past, like I mentioned earlier, it's just so difficult. I think Zodak's got past Matty though. He has indeed. Oh, Matty's gone deep into the tunnel at a guess. No front wing. I would imagine a lock-up going into that, well, the tunnel, bridge, whatever you want to call it. That'll wipe your wing away pretty quickly. Bounces over the curbs on pit entry. And now comes in. May even... it's going to be in danger of getting lapped here. By the time he comes out, obviously he's got a wing change as well. Just runs already in sector 3, so could quite shortly see himself being a lap down. Keep an eye on it. Wing is on, tyres are changed, out he goes. I think he's gonna survive for now. Haas obviously close to the pit exit, so will survive for now, but does need to try and get some quick laps in now to survive. HKM has been passed by Hepburn. Hepburn's already passed. I missed that. It's my fault. Too busy watching Matty in the pits. Kane and Viper still very close together. Hyder's only 3 seconds back now. So again, I would expect this to become a three-way battle for third. In the next few laps, next 4 or 5 laps probably. Hyder's not been as quick as I expected him to be. He's not slow by any means, but given the pace, especially last week, the pace he had around Monaco before he had his escapades with Walls was very, very impressive. Pretty much blew everybody out of the water for sheer pace. Kane taking a much more sweeping line. Matty's just he's comfortably in front. Where in the places where you think Kane might have a chance of getting past, Matty is just he's too quick. Kane's not even really close to being within overtaking distance. See Hyder now in the same frame as these two. So we'll definitely be joining this very shortly. That's when things start to get a bit more complicated. Things can open up a bit more because obviously Kane can't afford to be looking too much or he's going to be under 5 from Hyder. Nothing much happening elsewhere at the moment that I can see. Camus might be closing in on Cayley a little bit. So the two Williams could be coming together in a battle for P9 pretty shortly. Be curious to see whether any team orders go on that one. Just see an ominous orange McLaren coming into shot. Obviously Hyder on a bit of a recovery. Had a poor qualifying, then an incident. Was it the opening lap or was it? I can't remember if it was lap 1 or lap 2. But anyway, getting involved in an incident early on. Kane still not able to get close enough when really the only opportunity over. Oh God, I can't get words out. The only sort of traditional overtaking places is just not quite there, not close enough. Hyder's almost within a second, so if he wants to get this move done and wants to be, well, doesn't want the danger of being passed in trying it, it really needs to be this lap. Otherwise, Hyder's going to be ready to pounce whenever he looks to make a move. Gap at the front, 5 seconds. I mean, Scarito's still driving very well. There's no two ways about it. Like, still running good pace. They're pulling away from Viper in third comfortably, but it's just not quite quick enough to keep with Just Run. Just Run's found his legs again, as he's done in the last few. Hyder now within that 1 second, or was briefly. Drop back outside actually. I think, yeah, it's Kane looks though he took a wider line on entry to try and square it up, but just can't get out of the corner. That Mercedes Amatis just seems to launch so well onto the straights, and that's enough to keep him safe. Cayley and Camus are indeed together now. Two Williams battling over 9th and 10th at the moment. They're looking like it is. We've both got plenty of battery to use if they want. I'd be curious to see how hard they actually fight it though, to be honest. I know obviously, yeah, there's no immediate battling going on otherwise, any other cars or teams around them, but you never know. You never know who they could catch. HKM is definitely struggling. So these two could well make their way up to P8 and P9. I think Verstappen is starting to close in as well. So Verstappen is safe. They're definitely closing in on Hyder. Hepburn's in the box again. What's Hepburn done? Damaged his wing? Ah, new wing. Oh, Hepburn. I'm special. Well, I did say you were special. Hepburn now drops down to P10. Going to be joined by Zodak, I think. I might just get out in front actually. Be close. Obviously, it will be very slow through turn 1. Nah, stays in front. Notice the gap here is very close. So Kane getting impatient now. Wants this done. Wants to get third and try and get away before Hyder gets past him. Hyder's going to be looking for a move as well though. I think riding on board might be the best option. Ah, Kane's got a better exit this time. This could be an opportunity. He's going to have to be brave. Gets it stopped. Matty leaves him room side by side. It's good racing. It's fair. But I think Matty's going to get a better exit. He is. And now Kane's under attack. This is what I was talking about. Both of them run deep. Hyder can't really go anywhere. He got a much better line through there, but couldn't do much with it. That would have been a bit of a send. I think there might have been a bit of contact. Slightest of nudges. Kane picks up a penalty. That That's not ideal. Viper now boxes. Viper's decided he's had enough. He goes into the pits, so that's going to leave Kane a little bit vulnerable. Does he need a new wing, Viper? I think he might have touched the wall. Yeah, new wing for Viper. Verstappen's made up a fair amount of time during that as well. That sector 3 really cost all three of them a fair amount of time. Can Kane stay at a hider? That's the question. Really just needs to survive the straights. He's not deploying his battery. He's going to try and send him the long way around and does pretty much just bail out of it. Doesn't want any of that. Decides he's not going to fight it. Maybe going to try and use him a little bit. But pretty shortly, I think he's going to have Verstappen for company. So Hyder's moves up to P3, but he is 25 seconds behind Skrito. I think that's pretty much a full pit stop behind. Skrito's now 5.5 behind Just Run. So Just Run not gaining in the same way he was earlier, but is still running quicker. Camus and Curly still together. Now in 7th and 8th. Obviously Hepburn's boxed, as is Viper. So Williams jumping up a couple of places each. I think we're going to see Kane start to drop back from Hyder over the next lap or two. I think I mean, I'm still not convinced it's not going to be a safety car, but it's looking at the moment like we've got a distant battle for first and second. I mean, Skrito needs to try and find some pace somewhere. Then we've got a battle for third between Hyder, Kane and Verstappen, who I think, to be honest, I think Verstappen might even be the quicker of the three. But it is, obviously Hyder and Verstappen have both been putting in good laps. I think Verstappen just got maybe the slight edge. HKM's, well, he's in the middle of nowhere. There's no two ways of putting it. 20 seconds back from Verstappen. Currently starting P6. Obviously, it's still very good points. 6th place is respectable. Just still a long way to go yet. I mean, we've only covered, what, 12 laps? In fact, we've not even done that. We've completed 11 laps out of 31, so there's still over half of the race to go. It'll feel like an eternity for everyone driving it. Wet conditions around Singapore are not the easiest. Curly's keeping... Oh no, Curly's behind, sorry. But Curly must have let Camus go. I didn't even notice that when I was on board with him. So these two are going to be trying to chase down the AlphaTauri of HKM in P6 over the next, well over the remaining laps, I suppose. Not really much else going on in front of him. They're going, oh, I think HKM's just gone in the wall. Did he leave any wing behind? Can't see any carbon. Don't know if he got any damage, and I might get away with that one, but definitely had an impact with the wall. Just Run, I think, has lapped Matty. He has indeed, so Matty goes a lap down. That's really going to ruin any chances of him making a comeback later on. Zodak's almost in danger of getting lapped as well. Didn't expect to see that. Verstappen 2.1 off the back of Kane. Kane's still just about hanging in there with Hyder. So it just shows you how much pace Kane was having to sort of hold back when he was trying to get past Viper. I think if had he chosen to fight Hyder, he might have even been able to keep him behind because he's not pulled away by any stretch. Only half a second in it. Camus is now right on the back of HKM, so he might have picked damage up after all. Been very slow on this lap. Struggling to get it turned in. Not going to box though. Oh, he is, yeah. In he comes. So I must have picked damage up. HKM does box. It's going to drop him down into 10th. Promote Viper and Hyder up a place each. Kane still right with Hyder. This battle for P3 could come alive later on. Verstappen slowly but surely just nudging his way up there. Creeping up on him. Still very much raining as well. I thought it might start to dry out, but it's not looking like it anytime soon. Curious to see actually if it actually could become full wet conditions rather than going the other way. Still 25 seconds between Skrito and Hyder, so the pace between second and third is very similar, but obviously the gap's just huge. Just Run has extended his lead yet again, now up to 7.6. So just putting in lap after lap, doing exactly what he needs to do. Not really spoken about him much, but there's not much to say really, apart from he's winning comfortably. Hepburn right at the back of Viper. Looking to try and move up into P8. I'm trying to get a better exit out of here. Not sure it's on though. Does get the energy deployed. Gonna have to be a lunge from here. Decides against it. Definitely more pace in the bike, but it's just finding somewhere to use it. Verstappen now 1.7 off the back of Kane and Hyder. So it's about to become a three-way again for P3. Meanwhile, Camo and Curley still cruising around together, the two Williams boys. Looking like they're going to pick up really good points actually for the team. 6th and 7th would be a decent result for them. Hepburn. It's a good exit at the last turn. Looking for a move down. Into one. Whoa, Viper squeezes him on that apex. Looks like we've got yellow flags or something. Is that Skrito? I think Skrito's at a moment. Oh, he might have been trying to lap Matty. He's just under 9 seconds off the back of Just Run, so he's definitely lost time. We'll see here if this gap comes down between... I expect the gap between Hyder and Skrito to plummet here. Yeah, it does. Drops a full second off in one corner, so I wonder if there's a bit of a moment between Skrito and Matty during trying to lap him. Hyder's now managed to break Kane a little bit actually. Kane's 1.4 behind Hyder. Verstappen's dropped back a bit as well. So after closing up for so long, suddenly all three of them have spread out a little bit. Hepburn's still right there. So eager to get by. I mean, I can't see because it's looking backwards, but this would be a good camera if I was on board with Viper, but it won't give it me on board with Viper. Hepburn looking again. Again, not close enough. They are both catching the two Williams. So, I mean, P6 is still very much within reach for these guys. As I say, P6 is still good points. Not what people, like, aim for. Like, everybody wants to be up at the top, but in the long game over the season, your P6 finish as opposed to crashing out are the ones that win it usually. Oh, Viper gets a slide, gets on the curb, and that's going to let Hepburn straight through. Finally gets past his man. Hepburn released into P8 to try and chase down the two Williams now. Oh, we've got a car round. Verstappen's round and in the wall. Going to be a new wing required. That's not what he would have wanted. Does he pit? Or does he just try and fight through it? I mean, he's not going to get any further forward if he doesn't pit. But he's got a big old gap. He's struggling too much. Massive understeer. I mean, I'll see what the gap is. We'll just wait for Camel to pass where he crashed and then we'll get a better idea of what that gap is. But it doesn't look... I'm not sure it's the pit stop's worth. 28 seconds and it will come down over the course of this lap. So, I mean, if he does pit, I would imagine he's going to come out maybe just behind Viper. Soon find out. I see him come in with Matt as well, right? But oh, Matty's out. Oh, it's in the pits. Never mind. Thought he'd binned it. Thought it might have got a safety car, but no. Hepburn has closed right up onto the back of Curley. Actually, Matt get a move done here. Curly's going to try and fight it, but he can't get it down. Hepburn just gets so much better drive. Moves up into P7. So that's one Williams dealt with. One more to go. Verstappen now just under 28 seconds clear of Camus as he crawls his way in. It's an awful pit entry. You have to be so slow. Into the pits he goes. I think he's definitely going to come out behind Viper. Camus so much slower than Hepburn. Hepburn's going to go for it. Unusual place. Oh, Camus wanted to pit, that's why. Camus got damage. Where's Verstappen? Verstappen's out of his box, trundling towards pit exit. Both Camus and Curly are in. I wonder if the game's starting to pit. Verstappen's going to drop down into P7. Oh, he's on full wets. Is it full wet time? Yeah, these two are both going full wets. Curly's going to have to double stack though. He might have been better served just staying out for a lap. Going to be slow start. I needs a wing as well. Double jeopardy for Curly. So people going into full wets. So it has gone the other way. I want to say it does look very wet. Just run. Need to be very careful. And staying out though. I think this is where Scarito needs to jump in. No, he doesn't though. I think it was worth the risk. He's got a big old gap to Ida behind. Yeah, he would have lost the position, but if it is full wet time, and Verstappen's already past Viper, he's got so much more pace than those tyres. It's definitely full wet weather, but none of the front three have come in. Kane stayed out too. But there's definitely so much more grip. Look how quick that gap's closed between Verstappen and Hepburn. 3 or 4 tenths just on that traction zone alone. I mean, I know they're pretty much in a race of their own, but I can't believe none of the front four, even Kane. Kane could have played a blinder there, and none of them have took that gamble of getting in on the wets. There would have been a huge amount of time to be gained on this lap. Surely they've got to come in this lap. Surely. Seems to be so much more grip on offer from the wets. Verstappen's... He's got the gap down to 4 seconds. Less. In fact, Hepburn's in. That's why. So Hepburn's going to be going full wets. Viper's staying out. But you can hear, the guy's running traction control, you can hear just how much it's struggling to get the power down. How much it's cutting. I think you've got to pit. It's just so slow on these inters. Zodak stays out. Camera running really well in front. Right, the leaders come round again. He stays out. Somebody's got to take a gamble on this, surely. No? Really? Unless you're expecting it to, like, dry up soon or get lighter again, because they're definitely not as quick. Hyder stays out. Kane stays out. Am I missing something? Or do these four just want to stay as they are? Like it's absolutely teaming it now. What's the gap between Verstappen and Kane? Right, is he still gaining? Yeah, Verstappen's still closing in on Kane, so the wets are quicker. There's no two ways about it. Oh, Zodak and Camus. Oh, Camus very much in the wall. Heavy impact. I was lucky not to use a wheel there, actually. So Zodak just couldn't get it turned enough. Sort of ran wide, understeered into Camo, put him in the wall. Is somebody going to be brave and take a gamble here? I can sort of understand Just Run not doing it, because, well, he didn't stand to lose anything really. I mean, if he pits and it switches back, he's lost first for nothing. But I don't know. I feel like Scarito, even Hyder. I mean, definitely Kane. If you Kane, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do something different? You've got absolutely zero danger from behind. You're that far ahead of Verstappen. Oh, it's gone wide there as well. Just get the wets on. By the time everyone else pits, you might find that you've undercut Hyder. Just Run still stayed out. Scarito stayed out. Hyder's in. Hyder's going to take the gamble. Right. So we've got there eventually. One of the front four has decided to box. Is it for full wets or is it for more inters? That's the question. It is for full wets, right. So Hyder obviously will lose a position to Kane, but is very safe from Verstappen behind. Verstappen, I would argue, was the quickest on the track at the moment. Maybe Hepburn. Closing down Viper at a serious rate of knots. Considering Viper wasn't far behind him when he pitted, he's almost, by the time he's caught him, he probably have gained a full pit stop. But it's whether it starts to slow down again. That's the only thing. I mean, this is the trouble. Like the amount of information I have is really limited. But Hyder already taking tenths out of Kane. But, I mean, having said that, it looks like it's getting lighter again now. So maybe the time to do it had been and gone before I did it. Definitely doesn't look quite as heavy. I mean, these guys arguably ran on inters for maybe 4 or 5 laps worth of full wet running. I think Verstappen made the right call. Obviously, had that broken wing, but has managed to offset that by going onto the wets and making good progress. Has stormed away from Viper. Hepburn's only 3.1 behind him now. Just trying to look if there's any sort of tactical battle going on, but I don't think there is really. I think it's all just spread out massively. I know we've got a mix of tyres at the moment, and to be honest, I think it might start coming back to inters now. The only trouble the guys at the front have is the sheer amount of wear on them. I'm not convinced we'll get to the end. I mean, the 16 lap old as it is, there's another 11 to go. Are they expecting it to dry up maybe before the end? Just Run's about to lap Camus after his wing change. Hepburn 1.5 from the back of Viper. I think now it's starting to go the other way again. The wets are probably offering more grip over the guys at the front. I think are struggling as much as anything with tyre life now. Like, so the lights are higher, although the wets may not be quite as quick anymore. as a fresh centre Vinters would be. They are a hell of a lot newer. Ooh, Whitburn getting all sorts of sideways. Right up behind Viper yet again. These two seem to have come together 3 or 4 times this race. Looking to get that good exit, but hasn't got the grip. I think the wets are the second best now. Yeah, Ida's starting to drop back now. Losing out to Kane even on his 17 lap hold. So made the call, but as it turns out, made it a few laps too late. Didn't really get the best weather for those wets. In fact, I'd say now it's barely even raining anymore. Gap between the front two now, nearly 20 seconds. Just run as... When that really heavy rain came, just controlled it so much better and just took off. We've got yellow flag. Oh, Hepburn's round that last corner. Hepburn's in the pit wall. Oh, he's had a nightmare. Done exactly what I said he didn't need to do. And now he's going to have to suffer a full lap on really tyres that are second best for the conditions without a wing. And that will 100% be Hepburn getting lapped this time round, I would imagine. I mean, it's still in the points, even though it will be a lap down, but it's not going to be big points today. Cayley's in again for a set of inters. His teammate will come past. Cayley will have been lapped by first, second and third, I think. I'm pretty sure Kane will get a run around the outside of turn 1. And does indeed. So Cayley now down in 11th. Still in touch with his teammate in 10th. I mean, I'm expecting Camo to have to pit before the end. Either that or he's going to be very slow on those wets. So Cayley's still in the fight for points. Hyder's now in. He's had enough of those wets. He's lost like 5 seconds on the last couple of laps. Took the gamble, but I think unfortunately just took it a little bit too late. So Hyder, he is safe in P4. He's not going to drop any further back. Verstappen's been in as well. He's got rid of his wets, so he's now sat in 7th, but in reality he hasn't lost all that much. I mean, he had to come in for a wing anyway. And he was in, what, 5th, I think? So, I mean, he's lost time. There's no two ways about that, but the battle for 5th is still very much on. And Viper's not that far up the road, and he's on much older tyres, as is Zodak in front. Zodak's driven very patiently. So how far back off the back he was at one point to now be in decent points. Been a good drive. Hepburn finally makes his way to the pits to get a new front wing and a fresh set of inters, I would imagine. He's going to drop down into 10th maybe. New wing on. Oh, he's on mediums. Is it going to dry up? Or has he done it again? I'm curious now. Camo does move through into 9th. Still on his wets though. This is going to be a very sketchy outlap. Kane comes past to lap him. Curley's going to be rapidly approaching his inters. So Hepburn, I would imagine. Yes, yeah, lets him go. Knows he's not got the grip. Going to need it to dry up very rapidly for that to work. Verstappen all over the back of Zodak. To come to the end of sector 2. Into sector 3 is not really much overtaking opportunity through sector 3. It's all very much single file. Both of them have closed up to the back of Viper again. I would think we're going to see the front 3 pit at some point, but Kane's actually closed in quite a bit on Scarito. I wonder if that was during the heavy rain. Kane's putting some good laps during that rain. Either that or Scarito just struggled massively. Gap less than 8 seconds, so these two could still be in danger to each other. I mean, obviously Kane carrying 3 seconds in penalties, but the rate he's been going, he may prove to be a threat to Scarito before the end here. And he's closing him down pretty quickly as well, so flick back, here comes Verstappen again. This time towards the end of sector 1, but again can't get it done. Zodek placed his car just where it needs to be. A little bit of a look, but nothing's going to be going into there. Viper will be enjoying the fact that Zodak's under pressure as well. It takes a little bit of pressure off himself. Hepburn still persisting on his mediums, but he's incredibly slow. Just no grip on off. Oh, Viper's in the wall! Gets on the power too early. Lucky not to lose a wheel. That was a big impact to not lose a wheel, to be honest. So we'll need a new front wing, but this changes a battle for P5 now. It's a straight duel between Zodek and Verstappen. I think they're too far behind Hyder to get involved with 4th, so this will be the fight to the end. Verstappen definitely looking like he's got more pace out of the two, but Zodek obviously got the upper hand with track position. Kane still closing in on Scarito, 6.4 now. So Kane going really well towards the end on these inters. Verstappen, it's a good run through last corner. But then Zodek just decides to use what little battery he's got left and try and get clear towards turn 1, which he manages. I think Verstappen knows now. Doesn't need to rush, a little bit of a nudge. There's no desperate rush to get this move done. Obviously, 6 laps to go. Oh, that's a lovely move. Very nice move from Verstappen. Set that up on entry. Stayed wide, got a better line on exit. Zodek's not going to have an answer to this one. He's too far back. Really, really well thought out move, that one. And nicely executed as well. So Verstappen moves up into P5. It's going to be a mammoth task to try and do anything about Hyder. 17.6 seconds. I think all he can really do is try and break from Zodek and bring home a solid P5. He has already opened up a second gap to Zodek behind. Viper's come out in 8th, again on mediums. I think it has stopped raining now, so we might see everybody dive in for slicks before the end. This could be what the front 3 have been waiting for. Maybe a little run on soft, so we've got no rain. All depends on how quick it dries up, really. How's Hepburn doing now? These mediums, still not great. Still having to lift in places. Does look better, but it's not perfect. Camu's going to be in big danger here. He's got Curly up behind him again on inters, but he's going to be incredibly slow pretty quickly. Once it dries up, he's going to have no option but to pit. If people are on inters and maybe they've got a bit of a gap, it's viable to try and stay out and try and survive, but I think wets are going to be seconds a lap slower. No team orders anyway. No let bys here. Still wet. It looks dry. Like that looks dry, but then the camera turns and it looks soaking wet again. But I think by the end of this lap it could well be slick conditions. I think we'll see DRS enabled very shortly. I mean, it doesn't really matter anything to just run anyway. He's got a pit stop advantage over Scarito. Scarito's in actually, so he's definitely got a free pit stop now. Kane's going to stay out. Kane's going to risk it. Oh, yellow flag. Camu's out. Curly and Camu have come together. That's the safety car right at the end. It couldn't have come any later, really. So who's on the lead lap? I I think HK's been lapped. In fact, who has been lapped? Everybody up to Viper's been lapped, so only the top 6. Only the top 6 will get brought back together for this. This is going to make it very interesting. Obviously, Scarito's pitted under normal conditions, so there's a good chance he's going to lose second here during this, because Kane will get a cheaper pit stop. Obviously, everybody's under Delta. Everybody's going to pit anyway. There's no reason not to at this point. Hyder's in. Well, Verstappen will be coming in. Zodak will too. Just Run. I mean, if Just Run chooses to stay out, I mean, he would lap these two, and that takes 2 more out of the equation. But I think he's just going to be too slow. He'll get passed by Scarito and Hyder if he stays on inners. So Verstappen and Zodak are in. I would assume everyone's going to be going for brand new softs. I don't think everybody used all the sets. Zodak needed a wing as well. That's worked out conveniently. Zodak out he comes. Just Run will come in. Again, I would imagine for a set of softs. I'm curious to see how Kane's going to get on here. He may well jump Scarito, which is going to be unlucky. I mean, Scarito waited and probably played it bang on when he pitted. I mean, the conditions are definitely dry now. But just dropped really unlucky. Literally, as he went in, Camu ended up in the wall. Might have been some blue on blue action in that one. 2 Williams cars definitely involved. So Kane is in. Scarito now will be screaming at his Delta. But I think he might just... I think he'll get back through, to be honest. Pardon me. Came out of nowhere. Kane now in his box. Looks like a nice quick stop. It's going to be close, but I think Scarito's got it. Can now floor it. Yeah, Scarito gets P2 back. But again, Kane has found himself in a very good position. To a struggle in parts. Looked very good on worn inters towards the end of that wet stint. But now finds himself sat in P3. In a fight for the lead. Hyder has been gifted away back in, really. Did make the choice to go to wets, which didn't pay off. Left him a long way off the lead. But has now got a way back in. It's going to be a while before everyone bunches back up. Verstappen and Zodak are still nearly a lap down. I think we probably got until about lap 28 before the safety car come in. So no major rush, but they do need to get a bit of a move on. I'm losing my voice. Just realised I've spoken for about an hour without taking a drink. Oh dear. So what's the order behind safety going? So Just Run lead. Scarito. Oh, Just Run's got a great buffer. So Just Run's got Viper and HKM behind him. So that's going to give him a brilliant opportunity to try and break on the restart. These two need... Viper and HKM need to try and get going as well as they can and then bail out of the way after they've crossed the line. They can't. Obviously, they can't do it before because nobody can pass them before they got to the finish line. I have seen people try and do that before and it just screws everybody up because nobody can pass you. Then comes Scarito. So Scarito's actually 4th in the queue with Kane Prime and Hyder. Oh no, Kane Prime... Oh god, this is very confusing. So it's Just Run, Viper, HKM, Scarito, Hepburn, Curley, then Hyder, then Verstappen, then Zodak. So Zodak's actually going to be last in the queue, even though he's P6. God, this is messed up. I honestly, I can't. I'm sort of impressed at how long it took for a safety car to actually get deployed. Like to go 26 laps around Singapore, especially in like inter and then full wet conditions, is pretty impressive for nobody to spin it out that long. And to be fair, it looked as though it was more of an incident between the two Williams guys than it was just simple driver error. So Hyder's closing up. So only a couple of corners behind now. So by the end of this lap, Hyder should be there. Verstappen and Zodak are probably going to need another lap. But again, I know they're going to want to catch up, but they are taking life out of these softs. Everybody else just cruising behind. But the battle for second, third and fourth is very, very much alive. The second, definitely. Second and third. Hyder needs Hepburn and Cayley to die out of the way quick. I mean, Hepburn probably will. Because obviously Hyder's his teammate. He's not going to want to get in his way. What happened, Camus? I just flicked back to see you both in wall. Don't think you could have fucked it any worse if you tried. Just one of them things, mate. Points are still on. Points are definitely still on. There are other cars on your lap in front, so you can actually move forward if you get a good few laps in before the end. I mean, who's on... who was it? Viper, wasn't it? Yeah, so Viper and HKM, although not directly in front, are on Hepburn's lap. So we've still got a fight. We've got a fight for the win. Fight for the top 6, and then a fight for the bottom 4. Oh, Cayley's in again. Cayley's going to shove a brand new set of tyres on. I'm pretty sure the safety car will be in this lap. Hepburn's got his teammate right behind. I think Hyder wanting a bit of a let-by, but it's not always that straightforward. Cayley does get service, gets a brand new set of softs. I have to get a bit of a wriggle on. Teammate rear-ended me to the wall going for pit. It's a nightmare, mate. Feel free to report it if you've got footage of it. If you feel like you were wronged. That's what it's for. And we've got all sorts of weirdness going on. Don't know if Hepburn's just tried to let everybody go there, but it's made a bit of a mess of it. Not really anywhere of doing it round here. There's no... I know you can run off track and it'll allow people to pass you, but you can't really run off track in many places yet. Obviously, Hepburn not wanting to hold his team up, but by the same token, does still have a fight of his own to do. Still a potential P7 on the table. Viper, also a medium, sat in P7. Everybody now grouped back up. Cayley's joined the back of the pack, so I would imagine we're just going to see a safety car in this lap any moment. There it is. So just run, start to back everyone up. Try and let the safety car go. It is quite difficult because of how slow the safety car goes on its way around here. This is going to be quite hard to keep track of initially with what's going on. I'll try my best. I think I can get rid of this tyre thing now because that's irrelevant at this point. The penalties are 3 seconds to Kane Prime and Zodak. They could very well prove to be costly. I think Zodak's going to struggle to make any sort of places up, barring any crashes. 3 seconds is going to be hard to overcome in the last 3 laps. Or the last 2 laps, sorry. So just run. Still holding him. Still holding him. Biding his time. Scarito looking to get a run. Nah, it doesn't really work. The game doesn't allow you to do it anymore. So hopefully the guys second and third in the line will get out of the way. Hepburn bails straight out of the way. Lets everyone go. Does the noble thing. HKM's got out of the way. Just Run has been allowed to run clear. Scarito's still behind Viper. Viper's not wanting to yield. Now he does. Let's Scarito go. Let's Kane go. Now got Hyder behind. Oh, Hyder puts a dive on. Good move, to be fair. Got all sorts of madness going on. Viper, right, now Viper's back where he should be, so can fight for position now. So the front 6 are now clear. The battle between these is all for position. Then we've got the battle for the back four, all for position 2. So Just Run's gone clear. I don't even think it's worth keeping an eye on him at this moment, but the battle for second, very much on. Scarito's going to try and find some of his qualifying pace. We won't have any DRS for the end. Kane's just hit the wall and exit. Verstappen's round. Verstappen's out. Oh, that's a nightmare. Verstappen drops it on the exit of the hairpin. That's going to drop him right down to 10th next time around because these 4 will get the lap on him. Oh, Verstappen. What have you done, mate? So it now becomes a 5-way battle for second. I mean, Zodak's going to struggle to get involved, as is Kane. I'm forgetting he's got the penalty. So really, I think Just Run's gone. It's going to become a battle between Scarito and Hyder for P2. I think Scarito will be glad to have Kane in the middle of him, though, to be honest. Just Run puts in the fastest lap of the race, 1:43.060. Looking to take that extra point away. See if Scarito can do anything about that. This is pretty much a qualifying lap now. This is where he excelled earlier. Needs to try and do it again. Kane got Hyder all over the back of him. Kane doesn't really stand to gain much from keeping him behind. He's going to lose that position anyway. Well, unless Hyder picks up a penalty. You never know how many warnings he's got. But it definitely looks as though Just Run's got the pace now. Still stretching that gap out. Another couple of tenths in the first sector. Zodak's still there looking at Hyder. Oh, Hyder's gone deep. Here comes Zodak. You might as well give that one up. Again, Zodak carrying a penalty. Hyder doesn't need to fight it. He will get P3 back, provided they don't hold each other up too much. Hepburn's absolutely over the back of his teammate, even though he's a lap down. So Hepburn in 7th, Viper in 8th, Curley in 9th. But looks as though he might want to have a look at Viper before the end. Kane Prime needs to have a miracle last sector to try and get this place away from Hyder. Gap currently at about 2 seconds. It's going to be a big ask. I'm going to try and keep an eye on Curley as well. I think he's the only one that could make a move on track. But it's going to be hard now. Not really any overtaking opportunities left. Just Run is going to come around the final corner. Takes another great win. Brilliant driving from Just Run. Picks up the fastest lap in the last lap. Scarito P2. Kane crosses in 3rd. Zodak crosses in 4th. Hyder jumps them both and knocks them both down. Hyder takes P3. Hepburn. Yeah, all moved afterwards. I'm going to have to read through it after. But yeah, bit of chaos at the end. Unlucky for Verstappen. Will still be classified. Will still get a point, I believe. Dropped to 10th because 90% was completed. Well, that was a little bit of a mad end to what was otherwise a very tactical race. But I enjoyed that. Different, and it feels like I've been commentating for about 3 days. But yeah, rear wing damage from the beginning. That's not going to help, mate. A nice relaxed Monaco. Yeah. So, Scarito nicked the fastest lap. He did get it back, so Scarito does nick the fastest lap point back. Just Run taking a win. Drove brilliantly, to be fair to him. 62 minutes that race took. That's one of the slowest races I think we've ever had. Hyder does take P3 after jumping Kane and Zodak on penalties. Hepburn comes up in P6, the lap down, the first of the lap cars. Viper in 7th, Curley in P8, HK in P9, Verstappen in 10th, even though he did crash out. He will be classified as he did complete 90%. Camu in 11th, Matty in 12th, Damrash in 13th. All of those 3 wouldn't be classified, but they are outside the point. Anyway, yeah, another manic race. Just from T1, I don't know, mate. He's driving well. There's no doubt he's driving well, but he's not unbeatable. It's just mistakes from everybody else. I mean, look at Scarito. Scarito took the fastest lap from him. The pace is there. He's not uncatchable. It's just every time somebody gets near him, they drop it. I mean, for me, I think Hepburn was favourite to win that, especially at the beginning. Got an amazing launch and had good pace. Had the pace over Just Run, but dropped it all on his own, unfortunately. Just I had the pace for that where I've got the IQ of a squirrel. That's not very nice to squirrels out there. Right, well, that's going to draw close to another week. Another race. We're very much... Well, I think we're probably coming to the last third of the season now. So it's gone by very quick. Let's have a quick look at where we are next week, shall we? That's what I'm looking for. That's Singapore done. Everybody will be glad to know that it's a sprint race again next week. Suzuka. Suzuka's a bit of a love-hate. Personally, it's one of my favourites, but I know how much some people dislike it and how difficult to find it. But I think it's a fun track. I think a sprint around there will be good fun as well. You love it? Well, pressure's on now, Edbird. Now you've said you love it, you've got to win it. But I will spin. We'll stop it. Stop spinning. Get some more practice in. Yeah. Suzuka next week, sprint race. That'll bring us into the last 7 races of the season. So yeah, definitely getting towards the end now. That'll bring us into May, and the season ends on the 16th of June. So about a month and a half left, and that's it. That's the end of this game, end of the season. So this is where people fighting for the championship need to try and start making the move a little bit. Obviously, Verstappen had a good chance of adding some more points to his lead, but couldn't keep it together right at the end. Just run taking another 25, moving himself up that leaderboard again. I would imagine. I will try and get results out as quick as possible, but I do have a bit of a busy weekend, so I'll do my best. But I'd love to know what my expected points would be. I don't think you would. I think it'll depress you personally. I don't think you do want to know, but there's no doubt you got the pace, mate. It's just keeping it on road. So the run up to the end, I'll run through them. We've got Suzuka as a sprint next week. Then we go to Melbourne on the 12th of May. We go to Baku on the 19th of May. We've got a China sprint on the 26th of May. Be interesting to see China back again. You don't see that included much at the minute. Interlagos on the 2nd of June. Hungaroring on the 9th of June. And then we finish at Silverstone, the final race of the season, for another sprint race, the final one on the 16th of June. Otherwise, Melbourne. Yeah, unless anyone else has got anything left to add in the chat. Otherwise, yeah, that's about it. I don't think there's much to say. Well done to everyone involved. I know that not easy, especially getting around Single Point rain. It's a nightmare. I was impressed that we went so long without a safety car. Not bad running. Got most of the shit over with. Yeah, I think for me, if I was racing, I think the worst ones for me are probably would be Hungaroring, and I cannot get on with China. I know a lot of people like China, but I don't get on with it too well. Did I join SPRC? I did join SPRC. I did say I wanted to be reserve, and they said they could do a trial today, but obviously I'm commentating and I'm racing today. So I said, like, I can do it before these if you want. Otherwise I can do it another day. But nobody's answered me yet. So I don't know what's happening. Thanks for commentating. No worries, mate. It's been different. I've quite enjoyed commentating on it. I found myself getting really invested in this championship, probably more so than I do the ones that I race in. It's nice to be a neutral and see how these fights are going to play out. So yeah, as usual, what time are we on now? 9:30. I'll be back in an hour. Doing GP2 for RPR. That's Monaco, so that might be fun to watch if anyone's bored, if anyone wants something to do. Yeah, otherwise, thank you everyone for watching. Well done everyone involved as usual, and I will catch you all next week. Have a good bank holiday weekend, everyone. Catch you next week.